Good afternoon and a warm welcome. You're watching Education News Network, and today we're bringing to you a new topic of discussion, that is, can Indian universities reverse our fascination for Western education? And for that, we have with us a panel of eminent educators from the higher education segment who will be joining us in this discussion today. So let's welcome our first panelist of the day. We have Professor Dr. Anjana Reddy KR, the principal of RB Institute of Legal Studies, Bengaluru. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Our next panelist is Mr. Kiran Bindu, the Director of International Relations at the International School of Business and Research, Bangalore. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Our next panelist is Mr. Kuldeep Sharma, the Director of Academics at International Institute of Business Studies, Bengaluru. Welcome, sir.
Namaskar.
Our last panelist is Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy, the Principal Director of Dayanand Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Bengaluru. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation, ma'am.
Thank you. So to discuss our topic of discussion today, may I please invite our first panelist, Dr. Anjana Reddy KR, to speak on the topic, please. So what do you think? Can Indian universities reverse our fascination for Western education?
Yes, madam. Definitely. Why not? So my big question is why not? Definitely, can Indian universities reverse our fascination of our Western education? No doubt in that. Why I said this, no doubt, or why not? It's a definitely Indian education system is the oldest education system in the world. Everyone knows that. But due to after the East Indian Company once entered at the 1600, at the time, whatever the materials with us in the Sanskrit and some other our regional languages, in that they are converted into the English language. That is a major work with the entered into the 1600 at the East India Company, or it's called as a Britishers. Before that, for example, in India, the Takshashila University, Mithala University, Nalanda University, like number of universities, the great educational institution, it's born brought up in India only, not in any other Western countries. That is a one thing. And second thing, it's coming up to the point to the at present universities, at present running universities called as University of Calcutta, University of Mumbai, University of Madras, of course, University of Mysore, other universities, Aligarh Muslim University, University of Allahabad, like this. That all universities is there in the very, very better manner. But the problem is in Indian culture, that is called as a Western culture, what we can call it as a Western culture. Due to this Western culture, our people are moving to the other countries. But nowadays, some of the students are coming up from the other countries to our India to the education, definitely without fail. But even though some fascinate the Western culture moving to the India to other countries, we are expecting some of the major or some of the small changes. Definitely, our universities may come back in the our fascinate like a Western in the culture. For example, what are the changes requirement into our education system, or what are the requirement changes from the government or the teaching methods or the institution part? For example, it's a root learning. Where it is the root learning, we have to change it. Evaluation system is we have to change. Equal respect to all the subjects. For example, I can say this: arts, commerce, science. For example, you studied humanitarian law in other countries, we are respecting. But when it comes to human rights in Indian languages, we are not respecting. That shows that we are not giving equal importance to the education for all these streams. We are requirement to give an importance to all the three streams. Better training of educators, introduction of technology, most important thing, and personalized education. Nowadays, it is the thing is called as a slow learner, fast learner. The each class, for example, if the 30 students, different kind of students are there, but it's a requirement of the personalized education system and teach them the purpose of why they are educating, why we are requirement of an education. This concept we have to give to the students. Definitely, we may bring back to can Indian universities reverse of our fascination to the Western education without fail, madam?
Thank you, sir. I completely agree with what you said, especially with regard to the importance of respecting all streams and teacher training.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, Mr. Kiran Bindu, can I invite you to speak on the topic, please?
Yes. So I have prepared a small micro presentation, if you may, so that we can wrap our heads around the challenges that are ahead of us.
Okay.
So I found out a few areas where Indian education system needs to pull up its socks. Firstly, we need to ensure that we have comparable brand names. So if we are going to be competing with the likes of UCLA and MIT, we need to have comparable brand names. We need to have an alumni reach which is across the globe. Many old institutions like RV College here, which is represented today, all these people have got alumni who are spread across the globe. That alumni effect needs to be harnessed. Better career prospects. The global education provides better career prospects. I have done detailed feedback analysis on this since yesterday. Since you all got in touch with me, I have done a survey on this, and I'm going to share that findings of that survey with you. Better quality of life. This is something that we cannot do. What I've written it in yellow here is my thoughts on these challenges. Then better subject choices. You'll be surprised to know our Indian students are not fascinated to go to the West because they are getting better subject choices or they are getting great faculties to learn from. They're purely going there for better career opportunities and better work lifestyle that they enjoy there. I will quickly wrap up by just showing you this one slide, because I think going forward, I will have more opportunity to share some more of my findings with you all. Access to very high quality faculty, access to high quality internships in the various hospitals or various banks or financial institutions, and then the program experience itself, whether it is hostel or whether it is the query handling by the university or whether it's the ease of fee payment or accommodation. These are all extremely streamlined, and we need to get to that level. And there is relatively easy effort to result payoff. In India, if you want to get a seat into All India Institute of Medical Sciences, you have to be on the very, very top if you're going to get in through the merit list. For a far lesser amount of marks, you may be able to get into Brown University School of Medicine. So what I was saying was the trade-off between effort to reward is very high there. If I have to get into All India Institute of Medical Sciences, I need to be on the very, very top. It is almost impossible. But for much lesser effort, I can get into Brown University's medical school. And I will get the best quality medical education for what? $30,000, $30,000 translates to 21 lakh rupees. Here, the management quota for medical seat is going at 3.2 crores. So we have serious problems. We have been treating the student community for granted. I'm going to be very forthright. And now with the new education policy, if they open the floodgates, all of us are going to end up with deep problems. So we need to improve everything from our hostel experience. I will just ask all the celebrated panelists here just to do one small survey. Go to Pinterest and put there UCLA hostel room and put a comparable DY Patil hostel room. You will find there is not much difference, but it is DY Patil. They have invested a lot of amount of money, and that's why they have a comparable hostel facility. You put any other college and see, first of all, you may not get, but even if you get, you will see that the rooms are very small. They are not decorated properly. The kids are going to be spending the 4 most important years of their life with you. It has to be memorable. It can't look like an upgraded version of a prison. Sorry to say, the hostels are really bad. I would not put my daughter into one of those hostels. Have anybody of us gone to hostels and seen the facilities that are offered there? It is terrible. The food. Every single American university food court resembles your Forum Mall food court. The choice of spread that is there.
So you're saying the quality of life needs to improve, the amenities.
Absolutely. It is an experience that you're giving. They're spending 4 years. And I am horrified when Indian colleges lay down a dress code. Are you kidding? Are you going to tell a bunch of 18 to 21-year-olds what they can wear, what they cannot wear? So long as it is okay, it is fashionable, it is trendy, I don't see any reason why a student should not come up in his jeans. I was a college student in my 90s. Back then, nobody told us don't wear jeans and come. I have gone wearing flying machine jeans back in the day. Now I am told that students are not supposed to wear jeans. It is ridiculous. How do you expect us to attract them to our institutions with this kind of a mindset? It is impossible. They will just run. These kids need freedom. All of them are coming from nuclear family. Please believe me. Their parents have given them all sorts of freedom. And when they come to our college, we are telling them, wear Indian clothes. This is too tight. This is too loose. Educate them, na baba. What do you care?
I agree with you, sir. Thank you for your input on the topic. Moving on to our next panelist, Mr. Kuldeep Sharma. Could you give us your thoughts, please?
Yes. Good afternoon, all the panel members and Ms. Nitya. Today's topic is Indian universities. Can we reverse the influence or fascination with Western universities? Now, let's go on the top. We have 4 types of main branches: engineering, medical, management, and social sciences, or we say humanities, economics. Now, if you see engineering branches, universities which are giving engineering courses, medical courses, we are not going to see any Western influence are going to down in near future. Next decade also will be following Western university syllabus, methods, and all the methodology. Now let's come back to social science, economics, and humanities. There also we are not going to put down the lenses provided by for Western universities to us. Any studies we do in economics, humanities, social sciences, still we look at Indian social research with the lens of foreign media. Now come back to management. Today I'm going to focus on management education. As I come from management background, I'll focus there. In management education, yes, as per the model curriculum we got from AICT under the directions of MHRD, they say now you also focus with the student on Indian ethos and Indian ethics, value-based education system. But there also I cannot see another decade that we can reverse the university influence from Western media and Western university. Reason very simple. Western universities has given us tools and techniques to study and do research in management world also, and maximum companies we are following their models only so far. Some examples are there, like Mr. C.K. Prahlad, who has come out with the idea of the wealth at the bottom of pyramid. Then we had Vineet Nair, who has given us the concept of employees first, customer next, and that too in 2002. So such thought leaders from India are also influencing, but I don't see that in coming future, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, 2 generations we require to change the influence of Western university. And it's not that we can reverse the Western university influences. It will be counter. Indian influence, Indian university will be influencing the Western world. I don't think more after within next 10 years I can see forward. Now let me come back to right now. What is happening right now? In today's world also, if you see I'm telling management, how we practice it. During this Corona time also, India as a country and the company Serum Institute of India was supplying the vaccine to other countries with criticism, but they had fulfilled their promises. They had done the deals, they had done it till February. Now April only, we got this second wave, and now we are, all countries are helping us. So this ethical behavior is the part what Indian university or Indian, I can say Indian management ecosystem is influencing the Western universities. And I have heard Harvard is doing research now, and they're trying to find out how India is doing business differently. Like we have Devi Sethi, Narayan Hridayalaya, Arvind Eye Care. Then we have more than 100 companies. They're doing business in so unique ways that now Western universities are trying to do research in India. So with that, this is my opening. If I'll get time for that, I'll add in more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy, your views on the topic, please.
Thank you, ma'am. So this, I'm very happy to present this my thoughts on this unique topic. Can Indian universities reverse our fascination towards Western education? Basically, first we need to find out exact reason why Indians are fascinated with the Western education. Some of the things which I have discussed all these years with the students who are pursuing them and with some research. So I have found out that these are the main reasons why we are following this Western education, that fascination. So first thing is they say that it's a higher focus on skills is there in the Western education. Here we mainly focused on this knowledge. Western education, they focused on the market. That's a higher degree of a market orientation. They had it. Whereas we traditionally, we stayed away from the market. What the market wants was not that big concern for us. And they are having this dynamic curriculum. So all along, whenever it's needed, the change, need of the change arises, they were ready to change. Whereas our traditional university systems, they were revising their syllabus once in a 5 years, 6 years, sometimes even after 10 years. We are teaching the same thing, same subject, same good old notes of our professors. And then in the Western universities, they are having a lot of academic freedom. Whereas here, academic freedom is not at all there in a traditionally, because whatever the stipulations of the university, we cannot cross that. It is something like a Lakshman Rekha for us. And then they focused on this experiential learning. Here, traditionally, again, I'm saying, so it is not focused so much on the focus was not there on experiential learning. And then one more fascination of many of our students who are pursuing this Western education in the Western countries is because of this international career. So that is one of the things there. And then one of the important foundation stone for them was a research focus, which was not there at all. So quite long, at least for the majority of the institutions. But of late, there was a lot of changes have happened there. So that's the reason all these, whatever I'm saying, these points now, many of the private universities, they are coming up. So they are pursuing this. But again, there is some more problem is there, because there are few problems are there. That's something like a roadblocks, how they can address that. One of the important thing was a focus on excellence. So first thing here, majority of the private universities is a welcome sign, because they have come up. Whereas their focus is not on excellence, even though speeches they are claiming about it, their main focus is on a profit, because they have invested so much, they want to take it back at the earliest time possible. So whereas there is a saying is there, if you follow excellence, money follows. So whereas that is not being followed there. And second thing is a human resource management that is not done. That is a human resource means a faculty. So it is said that faculty is the most important element of any of the institutions. Our all this, even newly coming up universities also, they are focusing lot on the physical infrastructure, whereas this faculty infrastructure, they are not that much focusing. So they have to recruit and retain best of the talents that is available, and then they have to focus more on the industry association. So then only they can come up with all that, and then definitely we can reverse this trend of Indians, those who are fascinated about the Western education. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Anjana Reddy, I have a question for you. Do you think there is actual value in studying abroad, given that the cost is multifold?
Yes, madam, cost is no doubt in that. It is multiple. But some of the courses, comparatively other universities, we can study in our country only. But other speakers said that the qualities is must required to improve, and our academics will be how to change in the frequently depends upon the circumstances. Definitely.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kiran Bindu, since you
Yeah.
mentioned that one of the reasons that students want to pursue their studies abroad, their fascination towards Western education, is the high quality of life, right?
Quality of life, both
Quality
on
of
campus
life,
and off
right.
campus.
So don't you think when Indian students go abroad to pursue their higher education, there's this huge difference in the cultural environment that can lead to personal disorientation? So do you think this is an important aspect that isn't talked about?
Absolutely, you're very right. In fact, I had put that as a point and then I took it out because I thought that it may not be politically correct for the young, impressionable minds. There is a big issue of deviant behavior. I had actually put that as my point on cons. I have listed down a lot of cons, which I'm just going to share it with you in a just quick second. And I took it out because I was quite worried whether it would be acceptable to mention about all these things. My point number 4, which I took it out and put staying away from family, was actually to do with that. People go astray. Parents are very worried to send undergrad students because they're highly impressionable and susceptible to all sorts of peer pressures, including substance abuse. So that is a very real possibility that you're going to be spending a fortune. And if your ward is not adequately supervised during his formative years, then you are going to be ending up with all sorts of problems. So I have listed down the cons, which Indian universities should highlight to the parent community and say that, listen, if these people are going to come here, yes, our campuses is not as glamorous as Virginia Tech, or our hostel is not as comparable, but you will be saving yourself a lot of trouble. So yes, I totally agree with you on that.
Thank you, sir, for your view on that. So we do have a few cons as well, as per the presentation you've shared with us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
plenty.
Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy. Since the COVID-19 outbreak, fewer students are now applying to foreign universities for various reasons, like stability, mode of education being largely online, lack of employment opportunities after completion of the course, etc. So how can Indian universities, in your opinion, shine given this opportunity? Can this be like a window of opportunity for us, is what I'm asking.
Because every problem has got its own opportunities. Always it brings some opportunities. Because here, mainly all along, all our industry was never considered universities or the educational institution as a part of it. Because that's the one reason the employment opportunities were not generated. Many times the industry people, they from every forum, they are complaining that your students are not industry ready, so they are not employable and so on. Whereas many times when we ask the questions, what you are doing towards that, actually they are not doing anything. So much that even for many of our students, they are not allowing them to do some of the projects there. They will not share their data with them. They are not sharing their real case study, which we can teach here. Whereas the Western countries, it is happening. That's why their universities are flourishing. So it is a responsibility of both. That means if at all you want the best of the candidates here in our country, from our institutions, even industry should join hands. That means wholeheartedly they have to do it. Only then we can overcome this problem. And irrespective of any of the pandemic or any other situations, because we are having so many employment opportunities in our country only. Only the thing is they are not getting the best hands. That's the regret of the industry. So that we can overcome only with this one.
Thank you,
I would
sir.
quickly like to jump in and add a point to what Nagaraj sir said. He made a very valid point. Larry Summers, the former dean of Harvard, was actually the Treasury Secretary of George W. Bush. And the dean of Brown University sat on Clinton's Economic Affairs Committee. Why don't our IIM, forget all of us, why don't our IIM professors get called to sit on various committees of RBI and the Finance Committee?
Exactly.
Is there any valid reason for that? If you are an academic, especially in India, the industry thinks that you are some kind of a bookish person. I'm an academic.
Sir, again, just to add this one, to tell you, even here all along, barring for past few years, the situation is gradually changing. Industry is always considering this academics as untouchables. So they are not involving, as you said, that's the board of directors. You can keep one of them, and any of the your projects, any of your problems, if you are sharing, we can even at least some of the not only this IIMs or IITs, even other tier 1 colleges, if at all you can share, they can take those problems and they can get the solutions. Instead of you are going for some consultancy and all, you can find some better solutions. That means our faculty are having a competence, our students are having a competence, but only the thing is they are not coming forward. So that's why there is no learning is happening. So that's why many times the industry indirectly helping us to be only bookish. That's what I wish to say.
We have to struggle here to get out of the books and to create case studies, because data is not shared with us.
Exactly.
And with purely our own interest, it is like running with 2 10 kg dumbbells.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Kuldeep Sharma, is there one message you'd like to give to the management of Indian universities today to strive to bridge the gap between Indian and Western education?
Sure. In my opinion, Indian universities now they have to come up and they have to be better than Western universities. Not only we have to copy them, we have to go a notch higher than them. How we can do it? First of all, we have to follow their best practices. We are not here to fight with each other. If they have good model, they have good facility, we must follow it up. But then we must also come out with innovation. Already in India, we are doing it well. Not that we are not doing it. There is not such a gloomy picture as well. Our IITs are second to none in the world. Our IIMs are doing very well. And in our own way, our Rashtriya Vidyalaya, they have done so well in with the students, the way they have developed their alumni are everywhere. They're doing, every year they're doing patents also. Similarly, all other institutes at their own level, they're also doing well. But now time has come, we have to be more focused on our improvement. And this is a time to go with hand in hand with foreign university. It's not that we have to, fascination remain. And one more reason which we didn't put up today, the fascination for foreign university is due to the scale of economy. Our $1 is equal to 70 rupees. This will never allow this fascination to go down very time soon, until unless our rupees also value more. Because see, it gives a financial value for our students who goes to UK, USA, Europe, anywhere, and once they make their career, the first break itself, first job itself, they feel vindicated, they feel successful. That's a one way. But now coming to Indian university, message very simple. We as a professors, because university are nothing but professors. We working professors have to look for the quality enhancement at every level. We have 4 stakeholders. 1, students. 2nd, management. 3rd, faculty. 4th, infrastructure. All 4 sides, we have to come to the international standards. And we have to look at ourselves, whether we are doing well for the students or not. Our panelists very nicely have told that we have to give the best facility to our students in our hostel also. I agree completely. At IIBS, what we have done, we have opened the hostel in a Ojo Nirvana 200-acre township itself. We are giving them corporate life itself. We are not giving them the hostel dormitory. We are giving them a ready-made 2 BHK and 4 people are having it. They have a kitchen, they have a common room. So that type of facility we are giving them, and they have all gym, they have all facilities in 200-acre township can provide to the residents. They're not students there. They're living like a corporate citizens. And we are only 3 kilometers from airport. So this, whatever in a small way, in a small gesture for a student, we are improving our facilities. So that way, Indian universities as a whole, all 4 stakes, management, faculties, students, quality we have to improve. We have to work on that. We must not be poly. We must not try to give them intel marks at the whims and fancy of them. We must be strict. At times, we must be strict with the student so that they come to the required standard of at least what is our required standard. Then we can also touch upon foreign standard or the international global standards also. So that is my message. We all 4 stakeholders to work hard. Students, they have to work hard. Faculties, they have to change themselves. Now they must know all the social media. Similarly, infrastructures, management has to take care. Yes, we'll second to none. Already we are improving ourselves.
Completely agree with you, sir. Thank you. And thank you to all our panelists for today for this very insightful session. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you, Nitya.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
And with that, we come to the end of this insightful panel discussion on how Indian universities can reverse our fascination for Western education. Due to time constraints, we could only take a couple of questions. But if you have any additional queries, do get in touch with us and we'll be happy to answer them offline. For more such videos, do log on to our website, theenn.com, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. For now, signing off, Nitya.